Good morning, everybody. How are you all? Hi, Steve, Sleepy Shauna. Good morning, Linda. Hi, Laura. Are you joining us for the first time? Have you watched any of the replays, or is this your first lesson completely? Hi, Francis, Rosemary, Mary, Nicola. Hello. It's nice to see everybody. Hi there. How are you? So, Laura, just because you're new, just basically, if you want to ask a question, just go ahead and use the, oh, great, you've seen the replays, fantastic. Yeah, just go ahead and type any of your questions in that bottom corner chat. Any questions are more than welcome, and we're all learning together, so there is no questions that aren't allowed. And hey, Verona. Hey, Steve. So yeah, do go ahead and ask your question. Sorry. Couple of things on the technical side. So if you run into any technical difficulties, there's just a couple of things you can try. Firstly, you can just give it a few moments. Sometimes it's just an internet connection. Secondly, you can refresh your browser tab. So if you lose your sound or something like that, just remember, refresh your browser tab. If that doesn't work, just close the browser tab completely and go back to the email and open the link from there again. So that pretty much solves nearly everything. If there's any of those rare occasions where something else is going on, or if you can't get whatever is happening, like your sound problems fixed, then you can just click on the LearnBridge Online logo up in the top corner there. You can see it says click here for support. That comes through to me in the background. And if I can just request that you keep sort of your technical difficulties in there. So if you click on that and chat to me, rather than chatting about any technical difficulties in the main chat window, because that's where we talk about the hands. So with that in mind, I won't invite Bridget yet. I will start the recording because that's half of my purpose. We'll just get that started. Oh, it's nice to have you join us, Laura. Oh, that's awesome, Steve. It's so much fun when you get to join the live lessons, isn't it? All right, we are officially off. So welcome along, everybody, to another lesson. Thanks for joining us, to those who could, to the rescheduled session. And for those of you who are watching the replay, welcome. So I will invite Bridget onto the stage and we will see what she has in store for us. Just have to find Bridget. And then I can invite her. Everybody, please give a fantastically warm welcome for Bridget.
You found me.
For a second there, I was like, uh-oh, it's Bridget.
Here I am. Oh, party time.
I know.
Awesome. Nice to see everybody. So I think just as you said, Caroline, we're a really interactive class here. It's really important to me that people ask questions because I love answering them, and it gives me such a good gauge on where you all are. And because, you know, this lesson is about you and your learning, it's just great when you give us this feedback. So then we can work out, you know, when we need to sort of dive in, what's not clear, you know, the questions that pop up into people's mind. And as Caroline always says, if you've got a question, there's going to be a lot of people having that question. So don't ever feel embarrassed about asking the question. So nice of you to join us. I know that it's not the normal time. So thanks for making it different to have it on the Tuesday.
Absolutely. And a big welcome to Laura joining us live for the first time.
Yeah, nice. And thanks, Suzanne, for popping in to say hi for a couple of minutes. That's lovely as well.
Hi, Suzanne.
So let's crack on. Part scores today.
Sorry?
Part scores. We're looking at part scores.
Yes.
So,
okay.
So
good one.
We'll pop us over to the slides and we'll start chatting about some of those. See you shortly.
Right. See you later. Enjoy the lesson, everyone.
Right. So the reason we have got this cute little picture here, if I can bring it back, of the kittens, is I think that part scores get a bit of a bad rap sometimes. So we all fall in love with the game bonus and especially love slams. But part scores, just they're cute little bundles that can bring value. And they do, like getting your part score is really, really important. And last week we were talking about match points, and if you get a better or duplicate, and if you do better than other people, then that's going to be a fantastic outcome for you. So it doesn't really matter if you're a game or not. If you're getting an extra little smidge, then you might find yourself getting a top board. And I want to look at how to bid some of these part scores today, how to get there, how to land in a safe place. So we've still got your camera still on, Caroline, but I think it might have gone now, has it? Looks like it is just me on the stage now, so that's fine. Everything is good. So the first thing I want to talk about is, so this is part scores matters too, and then we've got this idea of weak suit preference. Can people just give me a bit of a clue about how familiar they are with this idea of weak suit preference? So sometimes your partner here has offered you 2 places to play, like say South is your partner, and he's opened hearts and then bid diamonds, offered 2 places to play. Okay, Steve's familiar. It looks like Shauna is too. I just want to go through these to make sure people are really comfortable with it and are getting these situations right, because they're so important. And I do notice people often do get it wrong. So bear with me if it's just a little bit of revision, and hopefully even if it is a revision for you, it will be useful for you. So it doesn't mean you really like either of them. Yeah, exactly. So Steve's point here, if someone opens hearts and you bid diamonds, if you come back and bid hearts, it doesn't actually mean that you like hearts. It could just mean that, look, you've offered me hearts and diamonds, and out of those 2 places, I've got to pick something, and I'd prefer to play in the hearts. But in these situations, if you are this person in North and your partner's offered you 2 places to play and you're a weak hand, and by weak hand, I mean sort of 6 to 9 points, you've basically got a few choices. So if you bid your own 6-card suit here, that's basically saying I've got 6 of these things. So you don't repeat your own suit here unless you do have 6 of them when you're a responder. So you're basically doing this on the basis that I don't really like hearts, don't really like diamonds, but I can offer you at least 6 spades. And what you're probably hoping for is that South maybe has like a 5-4-2-2 shape. That would be great, or even a 5-4-3-1 shape, even better. But you're thinking that a 6-1 fit is probably going to be safer than playing in like a 5-1 heart fit, or maybe a 4-2 diamond fit, perhaps. That just looks like your best option. So when you do repeat your suit here as a responder and bid 2 spades, that's saying that you're a weak hand and that you have got six of these things. Sometimes you'll come back to partner's first bid suit, and this is the one that can throw people a lot when they're not that familiar with it. So if North comes back and bid 2 hearts, that does not mean that they've necessarily got 3 hearts. It could just be that it's like the best of a bad choice. It might be like, yeah, you've offered me hearts. Yeah, you've offered me diamonds. Maybe you've got 4 spades here, 2 hearts. You might have 5 clubs here. And you're just thinking a 5-2 fit, that's not the end of the world. We're only in a part score. 5-2 fits are probably going to be fine. 2 level, that looks to us like the safest place to play. So it's not promising a 3-card support for your partner. Sometimes you will have it, but it's not promising a 3-card support if North comes back in and bids 2 hearts here. So occasionally, and this happens very rarely, like it really doesn't happen very often, but it can actually happen. So sometimes in these sequences, South here has offered these 2 suits again, at least 5 hearts, at least 4 diamonds. And it's possible that North is sitting there and maybe has 3 diamonds, even 4 diamonds with a very weak hand, and just thinks 2 diamonds is our best place to play. That can happen. So Steve has said it doesn't mean you really like either of them. When you're allowed to pass opener's 2 diamond suit. Yeah, so the sort of hand that would pass a 2 diamond bid here would be one probably with like 3 diamonds and maybe 1 heart or 0 hearts. And you might think, yeah, 2 diamonds is okay. Occasionally you'll have 4 diamonds in your pass it as well. Like if you had 4 diamonds and you might have 6 points, flat hand, or it's like a bad 7 with a flat hand, you'd think 2 diamonds, this hand's not really going anywhere. So to put this all into context, when South bids this 2 diamonds, what's the highest amount of points that South can have here? What's the biggest hand South could have? So they've opened a heart and they've come back and bid 2 diamonds. What's the biggest number of points South could have in their hand? So getting 15. So this is a really common mistake, actually. So this is not a reverse situation. It's not like South bid diamonds first and then came back and bid 2 hearts, which is when you would have to have like 16 plus. So in these sequences, if South had a really big hand, they would have to jump to 3 diamonds to get past their barrier of repeating their own suit at the 2 level. They'd have to jump to 3 diamonds. So if they jump to 3 diamonds, they have to have a hand that's saying, I'm forcing to game, because a jump shift, that's called, is forcing to game. So if you jump to 3 diamonds, you have to have a hand that is forcing to game opposite North's 1 spade bid. So what they're basically saying is, as soon as you showed me any sign of life, North, with your 1 spade bid, which may only have 6 points, occasionally 5, right? As soon as you showed me any sign of life, I know we're in game. I just needed a heartbeat from you, North. That's what the 3 diamond bid is saying. So for them to jump to 3 diamonds, and I think this is Linda's point, I think, is they basically have to have a 19 count. They basically are saying, I'm in game opposite any sign of life from you, partner. So it's different from a reverse situation where the big hand only shows 16 when you've bid a high ranking suit at the 2 level. A jump shift is like a 19 count or a very good 18. So because of that, Shonda's just had a penny drop. So because of that, the North hand is always slightly aware that the South hand could actually be one of those 16, 17, 18 counts. The North hand is thinking, my partner probably isn't, just the way probabilities are in that bell-shaped curve. It's much, much more likely my partner's kind of like 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 points. But, it's possible that my partner does have a very big hand, like 16, 17, or 18. It's possible. So for that reason, you're unlikely really to pass the 2 diamonds unless you really feel like it's not going anywhere. And the reason it's not going anywhere is because there's just not going to be a fit. And the reason it's not going anywhere is because you don't have 4-card diamond support either. And even if your partner had one of those sort of 18 points counts, there's no chance of game. But if I did have, say, 4 diamonds here with this North hand, so 2 diamonds doesn't show they're weak. No, it implies that it shows that they're not super strong, but it doesn't mean that they're weak. It doesn't mean they're a minimum. They could be still have a good hand. So often this 3 diamond bid gets raised with 4-card support for diamonds as kind of like a courtesy. A lot of people call this bid a courtesy raise because you're saying, I think we're kind of going to be safe in 3 diamonds and I don't want to pass you out in 2 diamonds just in case you're at the top end of that range. So often you're bidding 3 diamonds with like an 8 count or a good 7 count with a bit of shortage just in case your partner's at the top end. Because if you pass, it's all over. The auction's finished, completely just gone if you pass, which is often also why one of the reasons people prefer to come back to 2 hearts. It's often better to plan a 5-2 fit than a 4-3 fit anyway. So if you did have 2 hearts with North and 3 diamonds, you'd probably still come back to 2 hearts because it's often better to plan a 5-2 fit, but it also has the advantage of keeping the auction open. So if your partner did happen to be one of those big hands, they do have another bid going. See you, Suzanne, and thank you very much for Iceland. So jump shifts are game forcing. That's a key point to take away. A reverse is not game forcing. A reverse is just forcing for 1 round. A jump shift is game forcing, and you use them way less often than you might think. I think beginner and intermediate players probably use them a little bit too often. They think this looks like a great hand, I want to tell my partner. But I've noticed that expert players hardly ever use them. Like they're very careful about using them unless they really are game forcing, especially since now a lot of experts in teams especially, and if they're not vulnerable, will respond to their partner on the expression that I like, on the smell of an oily rag, basically. They'll respond with very few points because they don't want the opponents coming in and they want to tell their partner they've got a little bit of something. So jump shifts are game forcing. The one common mistake before we go on and come and look at examples is if you're a 6 to 9 count, don't go bidding 2 no trumps here with this North hand ever. I see a lot of my students doing that sometimes. They think, I've got like something in the club suit. I'm going to bid 2 no trumps. But if you bid 2 no trumps, what sort of hand are you showing people? Give me an answer to what you'd think. A 2 no trump bid now by North would be what? It's a sort of hand that's sort of invitational to game. So I might not even, it's balanced. Yeah, it's got a club stop. and you're basically saying invitational to 3 no trumps. So don't bid 2 no trumps just because you've got to stop in the clubs, because you'll be overbidding your hand. That's like quite a common mistake. Yeah. So next point, and I want to just talk about this because there's inferences for the rest of the bidding. So I play, and it's quite common now to play that if you do have a 6-card suit, just in terms of handling 6-card suits when you're a responder. See this first example here. Steve said, my partner keeps responding 1 no trump, and then the next time bidding 2 no trumps, and it makes you scream. Yes. It's like some sort of horror movie. I know. The only time you might do that, Steve, is if you're playing 5-card majors, because if you're playing 5-card majors in Turbo 1, you might see that auction, but you should never see it with ACOL. In this particular sequence here, can you see? So South's opened 1 diamond, and there's been a jump, a weak jump response. So who plays 2 spades here as a weak jump response, and who plays 2 spades here as strong? Because I'm guessing I'm going to have people playing both here. So Linda's playing it as strong. Shauna's playing it as weak. Got a few weaks and a few strongs. So this is just completely a partnership agreement thing. I think it is slightly more common in modern bidding to play it as weak, a weak jump response, but I certainly do see people playing it as strong. But the reason there's been a bit of a shift to playing it as weak, a weak jump response, is because you can get your strong hands across later often. So now bridge bidding has become really sophisticated, and you've got 4th suit forcing, and you can keep the auction live, and you've got other ways of showing your partner that you've got a really strong hand. So for that reason, a lot of people have shifted now to playing that if your partner opens and you do a jump in response, that is a weak hand. And so for me, this 2 spade bid here is the weakest of weak. That's like my really, really weak. My partner's not expecting anything. So sometimes I'm doing this weak jump response bid with like 3 or 4 points. So that's I've got 6 spades, and I have got like 3 points up to a bad 8. So Rosemary's saying, what is bidding up the line? So bidding up the line is when you just respond with your suits, with your lowest one at first. If you have like 4 spades, 4 hearts in this sequence, if North had 4 spades and 4 hearts here, and then opened a diamond with ACOL and actually with 5-card majors, you would bid your 1 heart first. You'd bid them up the line, your suits up the line. This situation here is just a weak jump response to say I'm the weakest of weak. So it's basically saying to your partner, I want to play in 2 spades. I know you've opened the bidding, so you've got something. So I am just bidding that as a place to play. I'm fully expecting you to pass it. Like very, very rarely is that going to work with your hand, the weakest of weak. Very, very rarely are you going to go on with that bidding. So even with 6 points, Rosemary said you bid up the line, and yes, you do. You bid your lowest suit first normally. There's a couple of exceptions, and it does depend on what system you're playing. So this 1 diamond 2 spade auction is just really important to just bear in mind if you do play that as a weak jump shift, because it means that if you get this sort of auction like the bottom auction down below, and this is especially for the people who do play that, and also for the people who do play 2 spades as strong here, it's good to know what other people are doing as well. So now that you've got this auction where you've got 5 diamonds and 4 clubs by South, if North has bid 1 spade and then bids 2 spades again, they know that because their partner had an option first time round to do this jump shift and didn't, that they must be sort of like a higher range. So this shows more of a sort of constructive weak hand. So it's the higher end of the weak hand suits. Have I got everyone following me on that? I was explaining this to somebody yesterday, and I could see a few kind of slightly blank looks on it. So it's basically like so many things in bridge bidding. There's an inference. If your partner jumps to 2 spades straight away and you play weak jump responses, that's the weakest of weak one. But if your partner bids spades and then repeats spades again, which shows 6, you're thinking, hey, they didn't make that weak jump response to start with. Now they're showing me 6. So therefore, they must be at the higher end range, sort of like a good 8 or 9. And the reason that's kind of useful is that that is a useful bid, because if this South hand is bigger, they can take that information and work with it. They might get to 4 spades. It can be utter rubbish, yeah, Steve said. My jump shift could be, my weak jump response could be utter rubbish, like really, really low. I want to block out the opponents, and I just want to say, let's play in 2 spades. Clearly, you can't do it with a lot of options, right? Because if your partner opens a heart, you can't jump to 2 diamonds to show weak because it's sequential. 2 diamonds is actually showing 10 plus points for alcohol players and a lot of standard American as well. So you can only do this if you can actually have a jump to show that suit. If you could never have that jump to show that suit in the first place, then these repetitions of suits can become a bit weaker. So it's just worth bearing in mind that particular point. I think what we might do now, might as well chat about this one. We'll come back to a few things later. This sequence here, this one here took me ages to click on to actually. And I want to know whether other people have come across this. If you come in and show a 6-card minor at the 3 level, like this auction here. So here West has said I've got like at least 5 spades and at least 4 diamonds. If you come in and show this 3 club bid, so that is kind of like a weakish hand. So you're clearly within the 6 to 9. But if you come in at the 3 level, you do have to have a few extras. That's like fairly decent suit quality and fairly decent points here. So your partner can use that as well if they're thinking about going on, if they happen to be at the higher end of that range. So Chris saying, isn't it dangerous? It's when Chris is saying, isn't it dangerous? I think he's talking about that weak jump response bid with the 2 spades. It's not particularly dangerous because you've got 6 of them. So, and your partner has said that they've got an opening hand. So they have actually come in and said, I've opened the bidding, and they've got 12 points. So it's not like you've made a weak 2 all by yourself without anything from your partner. You know your partner's got an opening hand. And they're unlikely to double for penalties as well. If anything, they're going to be trying to find their own fit. Okay, let's just pop over and go to some bidding, and we can just show how that works. Okay, this first one here. Actually, this first one here, let's just bid this. This is a nice part score problem I came up with the other day. Let's just bid this one out actually together. So you are in North. Who's opening the bidding here and who's passing? This is a bit of a style thing. I tend to pass these. I don't open 11 count balanced hands. Yeah, that for me, that's a pass. I know quite a few people who do open these. If you do open flat 11 counts, it's 5-card major people who tend to do this, by the way. I wouldn't ever open a weak no trump with it. If you do open flat 11 counts, you have to be very, very aware when you're the partner of one of those people who does it, that that's what they've done. But I love playing with my partner that we've agreed that we never open balanced flat 11 counts, because then I know that if I've got like a 12 or 13 count opposite her, I can be safe in bidding to game. I like knowing that. So it is a style thing, but I would pass this one with the North hand. East is passing too. And okay, so the South hand, what's going on here? What are you going to bid? Looks like nice 1 heart bid. So West can't make a takeout double here. They're just not good enough. If you do make a takeout double of a heart, you are strongly implying also that you've got 4 cards in the other major. If you don't have 4 cards in the other major, you do need some extras. So with this hand shape here, I would double with only 3 spades if I had maybe 15 points. But any fewer than that, I'm not doubling. So this is weak anyway. But this one's passing. Okay, so now North's bid. Unless you're playing 2 over 1 or 5-card majors, we're getting 2 different auctions here, depending on what you play. Yeah, so if you're playing Berg and Razors, we chatted about this recently. There's also something else you can do in this seat. I'm just wondering if anyone's come across this before. So this does depend on your system. Has anyone ever come across a bid called Drury? This applies mostly to 5-card major people. It's spelled D-U-R-Y. Chris has. Anybody else? Yeah, Sean has heard of it. So yeah, Drury is a really good bid if you think that if you're playing a 5-card major system. Drury's great because what it's basically saying is when you open in 3rd seat, and I think I've talked about this with you before, especially if you're not vulnerable, if you open in third seat, you see your partner opening a major, especially in third seat. They can be, you might think maybe they've just opened in third seat because they might have maybe a 9 or 10 count and they're trying to block out West from bidding and they've got a major. So you often open light in third seat, especially if you're not vulnerable. It's quite a good tactic because it kind of throws the opponents out. If it's gone pass round to you and you've got quite a light hand, it's basically screaming out to you that the person on your left has got a bigger hand. So if you come in and open the bidding, it can be really disruptive. So opening in third seat light is quite a normal thing to do. So sometimes people will open super light in third seat and they've come in and bid one heart. And this system called Drury, what it is it's trying to find out whether your partner had a genuine opening bid. And they use the 2 club bid as a fake bid to say to their partner, hey, I've got like 8+ points and I've got 3 cards support for you, normally 3. Is your 1 heart opening genuine or were you taking the mickey, basically? And what they want you to do is bid. So after the 2 club bid, if you've got a genuine opening, they want you to bid 2 diamonds. And that 2 diamond bid says, yeah, I'm genuine. So then you can go from there and find your game. Whereas if you were just taking the mickey a wee bit and you're sub-genuine, you just bid 2 hearts as like a sort of place for play. Actually, I don't even know where that expression taking the mickey comes from. Actually, I hope it's not rude. I'm not sure. But so that's a jury system for you. We won't play that right now, especially since we might just bid this hand in an ACOL way. So if we're bidding this hand in an ACOL way, and you would just say, look, I've got 10+ points and I've got 4+ diamonds. Jury, Chris said he forgot jury the other day. I would say it is probably the most forgotten convention. It's really, really easy to forget where you are in which seat you're in. And you see your partner's bid of a major and you forget that you passed the first time round and you carry on as if they'd opened normally. So I see people forget jury a lot until you're really very familiar with it. It seems to get forgotten a lot and people mess up on it a wee bit, but it is a really useful bid. But here we're going to bid 2 diamonds to say, look, we've got 10+ points and at least 4 diamonds. And now what is South going to bid? Hate these hands. These are not my cute kitten hands, these ones. So Glyn's saying 2 spades. Chris is saying 2 hearts. Steve's saying 2 hearts. It is mildly infuriating. 2 hearts. So this is one of these situations, is your barrier is repeating your own suit at the 2 level. So if you bid 2, go past 2 hearts, you've gone past your barrier. If you bid 2 spades here, so you're showing a higher ranking suit at the 2 level, that's your reverse. That's the one that's forcing for 1 round. It's not game forcing. It's not your jump shift. It's just forcing for 1 round. And that shows a good 16+ points. In this hand, you just can't do that. It's really... Oh, sorry, I shouldn't get distracted by cockney rhyming slam. Yeah. So you can't bid 2 spades here because that's a reverse. That's showing extras. That's showing a big hand. So unfortunately here, you just have to come in and repeat your hearts. So I know a lot of beginners get taught by a lot of teachers that if you repeat your suit, if the opener repeats their suit, that shows 6. But that's only if you don't play and understand the concept of bidding past the barrier, the concept of reverses. If you understand the concept of reverses, repeating your suit here does not promise 6 at all. And you have to be just aware that your partner may have repeated their suit because they're just not able to bid something else. This person passes. I mean, I might with the north hand invite because I've got 11 points. I know that we've got a fit. My partner's got 5 or 6 hearts. I'm thinking through everything my partner might have. My partner may have 6 hearts, but she hasn't been able to jump to 3 hearts. So 1 heart, 3 hearts would have been, hey, I've got 16 to 18 points in a 6-card heart suit. Or it may be she has got a second suit that she's not able to bid. So she's not able to bid 2 spades because that's gone past the barrier of 2 hearts. And she's not able to bid 3 clubs because that has also gone past the barrier of 2 hearts. So there's a couple of reasons here why my partner has come in and bid 2 hearts. So you're not sure exactly of your partner's hand type, but you've got a flat 11 count, you've got 3 hearts. I mean, if your partner's got a 15 count, this could be good, right? So I'm bidding 3 hearts here. And then I think I would probably just pass with the south hand because I'm thinking, I know I've got 2 double tins, but my partner's a passed hand. I know my partner's a passed hand. It just feels like there's going to be too many losers. So I think I would pass here. I don't think I would push on to 4 hearts. So let's just pass this one out. And now what I'm going to do is stop sharing that one. So just bear with me while we dive between the screens. And let's see which one we've got. Okay, let's pop this one up. Can everyone see the hand like this? So hopefully everyone can just see now the hand where you can only see the declarer's hand. Cool. So let's just declare this hand together. It's not particularly tricky, but it's just got a good point in this hand that I quite like, and it's just an easy slip up, this one. Just pop me here so I can see the screen. Okay, so you've ended up in this 3-heart contract, and West has actually led a trump here. They've led the 4. So how are you going to play this hand? How many tricks do you think you're going to make? A quick look first at how you think this is going to go. The spade situation's nice. Club loser. Diamond loser. Definitely 1 heart loser, maybe 2. Yeah. So it looks like you need an extra trick here. So they've played the 9 and you've played the king of hearts. What's your next step here? What would you do next? Any thoughts for anyone? Anyone got any ideas about how you'd approach it? I mean, I think I would be drawing trumps now. Another heart. Okay, so thoughts about how to play the hearts. So you've managed to win your king of hearts. You'd also really want to win your queen of hearts as well. Okay, someone's great. Okay, brilliant. Go over towards the spades. Excellent. So what you need to do is you want to lead up towards your queen. So you've won the king of hearts, but you also want to win your queen of hearts. So you're going to go across to the spades and again now lead up towards that queen. You really want to give both your king, and you've already won the king, but you want to give your queen also a really good chance here of making. And look, brilliant. The 5 of clubs has come out. So this is interesting because, let's show all the hands. There we go. So let's take it back. It's unusual for people to lead singleton trumps, but sometimes they do. And when you've won the trick here, if you had just slapped down your queen of hearts, it would have been killed by the ace. And you would have actually gone down in the contract. So you needed to do that classic thing that we talk about all the time of leading up towards your honors here, just in case. You need to go back to the spades and lead up towards your king up towards the queen to give your queen a chance. The other thing that's interesting about this hand is, can you see how East didn't take the ace the first round as well? So East really wanted to save his ace to kill an honor. Didn't just play it. If East had played the ace of hearts on the first round, it would have given South the contract. It would have made it very, very easy for South, because then both the king and queen of hearts get promoted. So it was clever of East to play low and hope that South now was going to play the queen out of her hand. So you've got to go across to dummy and play up towards the heart holding. And when you do that, even though East has got these nice hearts, even when you get this bad trump break, you're now in a much, much better position, because East has still got those 2 trumps and they're both higher than yours, but you can basically now do that thing where you've made your 2 hearts. You're thinking, yeah, they've got those 2 trumps. They're higher than mine, but they're always winning a trick. So you would just carry on now, ignore the high trumps out there. They're going to roughen when they roughen. There goes 1. So one of them's gone. Then you're going to let them take this one. At some point, they're going to roughen again. And you actually make your contract. So it's a real mistake in these situations to have played out your honours from the top. So leading up towards that honour is such a key thing. It's quite a basic idea, but it just came up the other day, and I thought that was a nice little example of it. Okay, let's go back to our bridge base again. Hold on a second. We'll stop that share and go back to our bidding. Okay, hopefully everyone can see the bidding of that original one. And now I'm just going to redeal. Okay, so let's now pretend that we're playing the weak jump shift here. So I know that some of you play the strong jump shift, but let's play the weak jump shift. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So south is opening 1 heart. What can west do here? These are such annoying hands when you've got a hand like the west hand. It's just a pass, isn't it? It's very, very annoying. You wish you had another club, but you really can't do anything. But this happens so often. You just have to sit there and wait, and hopefully maybe you can come in later, or think that you've got a good defensive hand. So I tend to think if I've got one of these balanced 12 to 14 counts and the opponents have opened, sometimes I cheer myself up about it by thinking I've got a good defensive hand. I don't need to get depressed about this hand. I wish I could say something. I wish I could have opened, but hey, I haven't. But I do have a good defensive hand. So west can't bid. Okay, so the bid from north, if we're playing these weak jump responses, is this 2 spade bid. I'm the weakest of weak. Please don't get your hopes up, partner. Nothing to see here except for a long spade suit. So I am the weakest of weak. And I think that should be alerted. Then east can't double. If east doubled here, they'd be showing the 2 unbid suits. So clubs and diamonds. Unfortunately, they've only got 3 clubs, so they can't make a bid here. And opposite a weakest of weak suit bid, south is not interested in anything. South just thinks, okay, thanks, partner. 2 spades is going to be okay. Think little cute kittens. Maybe we can lock this in. Maybe we can make it. And they're going to pass. Okay, I'm going to just stop sharing that one. Sorry for all the diving forward and back, but I quite like sometimes to be able to bring up the screen where you can't see. Hold on a second. Okay, so now you are looking at this from the position of the defense in east. Can everybody see that? So you're defending a 2 spade contract. What are your thoughts on the opening lead here? So you know north, you know south is an opening hand. You know north is the weakest of weak. If they haven't alerted it, I would actually, before I made the opening lead, I'd ask, what does that 2 spades mean? You know, what would it have meant if they'd bid 1 spade and then repeated their spades? You might ask that question just to get clarification about what you're expecting from the north hand. What would you lead, do you think? A few choices. Yeah, I like a club. I'd be a bit, I mean, the hearts, it just is a bit more dangerous. It's not quite as dangerous here as it normally is. Like leading away from a king is a dangerous thing to do because sometimes you might lead into the ace queen. You're not going to lead into the ace queen in the north hand, which I think is probably what you're thinking here, Linda, isn't it? Because north has said that they're weak. They're hardly going to have the ace queen of clubs, but they possibly have got the queen of clubs, queen of not clubs, hearts. Sorry, getting my suits muddled. They've possibly got the queen of hearts. It's possible, unlikely with the weak hand, but it is still a dangerous lead. Less dangerous here because you're thinking south. If anything, the finesse position is going to be with south, and they're going to finesse the hearts anyway. So it's less dangerous, but I think I would go safe here. Oh, thanks, Steve's looked it up. And EBU have to announce it as natural, not forcing. Okay, cool. So here, I think middle of nothing. So if I'm leading this club suit, I'm leading the middle one, and I'm also making a mental note to myself, make sure when I play the next card to play the high one. So my partner knows it's middle, up, down, mud. So you have to watch, really watch with the second one, what you're playing, so your partner knows what the card situation is. So next, got the middle club. Okay. Your partner wins it with the jack. and they played the 3. What do you know about your partner's hand if you're east? When you see the jack come out. Yeah, they haven't got the 10. And they've got the queen. What else have they got? I mean, to put it another way, what would have North done if they had the queen, the king, or the ace? If North had the queen, the king, or the ace, North is going to win the trick, right? They've got no reason really not to win the trick there. So you know here, when West is here, when they've won the jack, that they've got the queen, the king, and the ace. It's possible they might have held up the ace, but the queen and the king, they've definitely got with the West hand. So it's really important when you're in defense to win with the cheapest trick you can. So some people make the mistake here, and I saw someone do it yesterday, of winning with the ace here. And if you win with the ace, it doesn't give your partner anywhere near as much information because that king, queen, and jack are all hidden. Like, it's quite possible if you win with the ace that North has got the king, the queen, or the jack. But if you win with the jack, it's much clearer. Hold on. Is that where we are? There we are. It's much, much clearer to your partner. So when you're in defense, you win with the cheapest one you can. But conversely, when you are the declarer, you should win with the highest one that you've got. Okay, so they've won the jack, and now they've looked at dummy and they've returned a trump. Yep, so Steve's right. So you would win with the ace as declarer for the same reason, really, to hide things, to make it unclear. So would you take the ace here or not, do you think? So you could take the ace and another trump, but I would be thinking, if I don't take the ace here, they're going to have to win this in dummy, right? And if they win this in dummy, I could really break their communications. So sometimes it's also right not to take the ace, but to break the communications between the two hands. You know that North is really weak here, and they're going to have real problems getting back to your hand. So if you play low here, they're going to win in their hand. And then when they play another trick, and your partner needs another spade, you've still got through the problem of trying to, you've still taken the trumps away from the dummy, but what you've done is that you've made it really difficult for them to access their hand. Because what they were hoping to do, I'm going to pop the whole hand up here. So go back to this position here. So if you had won that trick there with the ace and then played another trump, what do you think you would have done if you were the declarer? So say you'd won with the ace and then played the 9. They've got a lot of problems here with this hand. They know really that they're not going to be able to get rid of a club and rough it because you two are on it. You're pulling out the trumps. But say you played the ace and won the 9. Yeah, you're going to overtake the queen with the king. Can you see that? So say you won the ace, played the 9 of spades back. North is going to win it with the queen in the south hand at first, but then if North is clever, they're going to overtake it with the king because they can afford to. And then what would they try and do? What they're trying to do is get rid of one of their pesky clubs. So what they would try and do now, if they're a good declarer, is they might try and play the 10 of hearts and finesse the queen of hearts, then play the ace of hearts and chuck away a club. And then they would get rid of one of their club losers. So by holding up that ace in that particular situation on the first round, you've broken their communications. They can't now get across to the hand. So I'll see if I've got the, can we put on the, yeah, you can see, right? So if you play the ace of hearts, then you returned the 9 next time around. So the ace of hearts says they're making the contract here. Whereas the 9 of hearts gets spades. I wish I wouldn't get my suits mixed up. I'm sorry. Apologies. So if you played the ace of spades first, they would do exactly that. They can win the hand, win the trump in their hand because they've had a way to cross, to manage the hand and cross to their hand, which enables them then to take the heart finesse and then throw a club. Whereas if you win it, let them win the first time round, anything they play next, you can win, and then you can play on the clubs and they won't get the opportunity to throw that club away. It's kind of an interesting idea. And I don't even know if I would have got this right at the table. It's so tempting to just take the ace and pull another one. But I think what you'd be thinking here is North is very weak. You know, North is the weakest of weak. They're going to have big, big problems getting to their hand. If I let them win this, what are they going to do next? Like, they're not going to be able to get across to their hand. One of us can win the next return and then pull the next trump out anyway. So it's not like we're not going to be able to pull the next trump out. You know your partner's got trumps in her hand as well. We're always going to be able to pull the next trump out, and we've broken the communications. They won't be able to get to the North hand, and they won't now be able to do that finesse. I thought that was quite another interesting sort of example of not playing your ace. It's a bit more complex than the first one. Yeah. Okay, so let's pop back to Bridge Base again. Stop sharing that one. And we're going to bid this next hand. Okay, so everyone can see Bridge Base again. Have I got that? Yeah, it's not just slam hands that are fascinating. To be fair, though, I do love a slam. I really do love bidding slams. It's so exciting. And I know Caroline was saying the other day, can we do some more slam bidding? And I was thinking, yes, let's. Slam bidding is really fun. So we will get on and do some slams too. Slams are so much fun. And they do happen more often than you think. I mean, they're not little kittens. They're great big lions, slam hands, but we love them. Okay, let's bid this next one. I love control bidding too. Yeah. Okay, this one here, this is the other situation where you've got a 6-card spade suit. So we're opening a heart here. Pass here. And what are you now bidding with this one? That's the same hand. So if you weren't playing these weak jump responses, what would you bid, do you think? Yeah, it's the same hand. The reason I popped it in is say North passed, what would you do with the East hand? If North didn't bid anything. And I would always bid something, but just say North didn't. What would you bid with this East hand? So you're in the protective seat. I would just bid 1 no trump here. So 1 no trump in the protective seat here is not a 15 to 17 count. 1 no trump in that protective seat is saying I have got a balanced hand somewhere between 11 and 14 or 15. And you don't even actually need to have a stopper in the heart suit, because you're basically protecting the hand from being signed out, sort of passed out in the 1 heart level. So that is a protective seat 1 no trump. So obviously 1 no trump with the West hand is 15 to 17 and a stop in hearts. But 1 no trump in that pass out seat, a lot of people talk about borrowing a king from their partner. But the other way to think about it is I'm protecting my partner. I'm expecting things in my partner's hand. Caroline noticed me bid 1 no trump with 14 points as an overcall today. No, Caroline, I was being a bit naughty. I shouldn't have done that. I just liked my lineup of cards. Here, though, this 1 no trump in the protective seat is just saying I've got 11 to 14 points. And then, or maybe 15, this person's probably going to invite. But the point of this was, if you hadn't made that weak jump response here, they are going to end up playing in 2 no trumps actually making. So that 2 spade bid ended up being a really, really useful bid, that weak jump response bid in this particular situation. Yeah, that's right, Shauna. Okay. What's this next one? This might be the one example. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Who's opening the West hand? This is not a flat 11. Yeah, I'm opening it as well. Yep, rule of 20. It's just if the length of your 2 longest suits plus your high card points adds up to 20 or more, and you've got high card points in those long suits, really think about opening the hand. These shapely hands are just really important to open. This is not even naughty opening this hand. This is just, you should open this hand. It's a good hand. So you've got 6 plus 4 is 10, plus you've got 11 points. You've got 21 points basically. If you, 21, you've well past the rule of 20. So I'm definitely opening this. 1 diamond. So flat, 11, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 count. Don't double with these flat hands here. You just have to pass. And this one here, this is just a 1 spade opening. This is not the weakest of weak. So do not make this bid with this particular hand, because your partner will get it wrong potentially and you might miss something. This hand here is a simple 1 spade bid. And you'll be thinking, if my partner comes back and bids her second suit, and I would bid my second suit here with West. So even though I've got a 6-card suit, if I've got a second suit that's got honours in like this, I always want to show that to my partner in preference to showing my 6, possible 6 diamonds. So I'm going to bid 2 clubs here. And now what would you do with the East hand? Two spades, yeah. So this to me now is this 2 spade bid. So that's saying I'm not the weakest of weak if you play that, but I do have a 6-card suit and I'm in that range of, I'm not like a bigger hand. Like if I had an invitational hand with spades, sort of a good 10, 11, 12 points, then I would do that. That would be my invitational hand with spades. So this one here is just saying I've got 8 or 9 points. Yeah, I'm not the total rubbish. I've got 8 or 9 points in spades. So if your partner wanted to go on here, then they could. They could make another bid, but you've probably landed in a very nice place. I think this makes an over trick, this one, doesn't it? So that would go very nicely for you. Spade finesse works, and they split 3-3 as well. Okay, I'm just going to bid a few more of these just to get everyone feeling comfortable with them. Watch this one here. Okay, this one is opening a spade. East is not going to pass. What are you going to bid with the south hand? 6 points. Always respond with 6 points. That doesn't mean you don't respond with fewer than 6 points. Sometimes you will respond with 5 or even 4 if you like it, but with 6 you always must. So that's your classic dustbin, your trash. Trash 1 no trump. So 1 no trump, 6 to 9, any old rubbish. Pass here. 2 hearts by North. I've got at least 5 spades and at least 4 hearts. And then what are you going to do with the south hand? So you're basically thinking, even if my partner's high in the range here, I'm not optimistic about this contract. But I'm going to prefer to come back to the 5-2 fit rather than stay in a 4-3 fit, which I think is reasonable. So you're going to bid 2 spades. And then North sees that, realizes that you don't necessarily have to have 3 for that bid. It could just be that you prefer them. It's like, hey, I've offered you spades, I've offered you hearts. You maybe even only slightly prefer the spades, and they just pass here. So you've ended up in this nice part score. Let me just see if I've got this one coming up. This is quickly bid this one out. So 1 spade. South passing. So West is going to do what with this hand? I'm sure you're getting familiar with these options. So it's a 1 no trump, pass, 2 clubs. So this one here, I really feel like I'm a little bit on the border of bidding 3 clubs, which is my courtesy raise. That's basically saying I do have 4 clubs with you, and just in case you're top end, I want to bid it. But I think I'm just a little bit too light. So even though that would cross my mind to bid 3 clubs, I'm just a little bit too light. I'd want a bit more like the equivalent of kind of like sort of more of a 8, 7, a good 7 or 8. So I think I probably would just pass the 2 clubs there. And it's a bit of a shame because you do shut down the bidding, as we said before. As soon as you've passed, unless the opponents come in, then it's basically over. But I would just pass that particular 2 club, but I wouldn't do a courtesy raise there. And they're making 2 extra over tricks, but they were never They were never going to make 5 clubs, and they were never going to make 3 no trumps. So you're in the right place on that one. There was one sequence that Steve sent to me, but before I talk about that, I would just like to bid this one out, because this is the one where you've come in with a minor at the 3 level. So just to give you an example of this one. So there's a spade, pass, and then you're bidding 1 no trumps here. 6 to 9, any old rubbish. 2 diamonds, pass, and then this 3 club here shows extras. That is a 6 or 7 card suit. That it could be a 6 card suit, but it's not just saying that you have got 6 of them. You wouldn't do that with like a 6 or 7 count unless it was like super shapely. Definitely not a 6 count. That is actually showing a little bit more. So if you come in with your minor at the 3 level, that is showing a few extras. I want to just quickly pop to the whiteboard. Give me 2 seconds, because there was a sequence that Steve sent on the chat. And by the way, do send me messages and questions on the question page. So let me just try and remember what it was. The sequence was a really, really unusual sequence. I think it might have been something like 1 club by the opener here, and then 1 heart by your partner, then 1 spade, and then 2 hearts by your partner. So you've opened a club, your partner's bid a heart, you've come back and bid a spade. So you haven't done a jump here to 2 spades. If you did a jump to 2 spades, that is a kind of unusual example of a jump shift, because you're doing it and you've only had to bid up to the 2 level to show your second suit, to push past that barrier. And then over this 2 hearts, so the 2 hearts here, if you're playing weakest of weak here, so if 1 club 2 hearts would have been your weakest of weak, a 2 heart response immediately, your weakest of weak was sort of 4 to 7. This one here now is more, right? So this is now kind of like your 8 to 9 count if you'd played that way. So the bid here that was generated, was it this way around? Or was it, maybe it was 1 diamond by the opener. I actually think it was 1 diamond by the opener. Just change that. And then this opener bid 3 clubs. So what do you think that 3 club means? I had to really think about this one. So that, sorry, it looks messy now. 1 diamond, 1 heart, 1 spade, 2 hearts by your partner, basically saying, I've just got 6 of these, I want to play there. Probably. And then you've come in and bid 3 clubs. So Chris is thinking 4th suit forcing. Yeah, and it kind of is a 4th suit forcing. So normally 4th suit forcing applies when both of you are unlimited. So when neither hand has sort of limited their hand, that's often when 4th suit forcing applies. And it's a bit unusual here, because this 2 heart bid does kind of limit them. Like they haven't got more than 8 or 9 points here when they bid 2 hearts. But it is possible here that this person here is quite high in their range. They've known that their partner's got something decent, and they're thinking, hey, maybe we can play in 3 no trumps. They might be thinking, I've only got one heart. I don't want to play in 4 hearts. I've got a good hand, I might have 17 points, but I don't have anything in this club suit, and I'm worried about playing in 3 no trumps. So what it could be here, so opener's got a big hand that's basically interested in game opposite that 2 heart bid. That's what it must mean. But they're not comfortable bidding no trumps themselves. What they're really probably after is some sort of stop in that club suit. That's probably what they're thinking, looking for a club stop. Yeah. So it is a form of 4th suit forcing that bid. And I don't think I've seen that bid actually even generated, but perhaps I have. But it's kind of an interesting one. And when in these weak suit preference situations, if the opener does make a bid after the responder has given a weak suit preference, that's because they've got something decent in their hand. They're quite high end in their hand. They've probably got sort of 16 sort of plus points. So it does look like they're looking for a stopper here. And just because you sort of make these, I wonder if I can roll that down. I'll just delete it. Just because there has been a weak suit preference situation doesn't mean that the opener won't bid on necessarily. Clearly they can't bid on if the responder has passed, like that's all over. But if the responder has kept the auction live, The opener sometimes will make some attempt to keep bidding if they are at the high end of that range. They might bid 2 no trumps. They might repeat their second suit, or they might repeat their first suit to show that they've got 6 in them. So they can carry on the bidding if they are interested in some sort of game, even opposite a weak response. But it doesn't happen too often. Any quick questions before we get Caroline back? I hope that was helpful. We've got quite a lot more work to do on some of these part scores, and you'll see that further down the slides. We'll just leave that for the moment. But any questions? Also, don't forget to send me questions or interesting hands. If North had no stopper in clubs, what does North do? It kind of depends on the rest of the hand, Rosemary. Rosemary, for that question, you maybe have to bid your own suit again or come back to one of the opener's suits. So hope that has cleared up some new things.
Yeah. Really good. That comment that Shauna made, if I would have thought that the 3 clubs bid was showing a stopper. If they had a 3 club stopper, wouldn't they have just gone straight to 3 no trumps?
They might have been no trumps, 2 no trumps, which say, look,
Yeah.
I'm happy to play no trumps. I wasn't a game forcing hand, but I'm interested in playing a no trumps, and they could have bid 2 no trumps. Yeah. I think some of the Iceland, Mary said that it will be on Viewgraph. Yeah, I think right now,
oh, cool.
I think the masters, that like the absolute brilliant players in Iceland at the moment, you might find them on BBO today playing. Then there's the peers and the teams, I think, coming up this weekend. So some of it will definitely be on BBO, some at the Viewgraph. So there's going to be some amazing, amazing players there. I'm so excited to have the chance to go and play against some of these people.
So who are you playing? Which are you peers or team?
I'm playing in the peers with my partner, and I'm also playing in the teams as well with some friends. And yeah, well, I mean, I'm basically expecting to be slaughtered, right? But
is that Alison? Is that your partner?
Yes, that's my partner, Alison. Yeah, so we've been practicing for this. I know it's going to be really fun, and I'm just, one of the good things that's going to come out of it is I am going to have some really good hands to share, and what I should have done. Yeah.
Super interesting. And that was a great lesson. I thought there were quite a few things there that were sort of elucidated for me, just around yeah, I mean, outside of the main topic, that just things like I rebid with a 5-card suit, but I keep on hearing in lessons, rebid with a 6-card suit, and now it completely makes sense that it's once you start using reverses, then
that's probably one of my pet peeves, actually, is when teachers don't trust their students to understand the reverse.
Yeah.
Totally. They think, oh, I'm not telling these dumbos about that.
I love reverses. I love them. Yeah.
Of course, people can understand that. It's just a bit confusing, but of course people can understand that. So I like to just be honest with people. Like, it's tricky at first to understand, but like, of course, everyone can understand that eventually.
Once you do it, and it keeps on going, doesn't it? Like the one thing I've never done is the like the responders reverses, not the responders, the overcallers reverses and things like that.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, and a responder reverse too. Yeah. So if the off chance that I'm on BBO, which is very unlikely, I think they're going to put on the superstars rather than maybe. You never know. It would be under our real names. Yes, it would. Yep.
Okay. Great.
Okay. Look, lovely.
The other thing as well that I thought was really useful was the understanding that a jump shift is game forcing and that's and usually it's opposite, like a 1 level bid, so it's 19 plus, and that's why that 2 level bid
and you
go all the way up to 18.
If the jump shift is in a suit that could have reversed, it's not a jump shift. It's only if it were a suit that hasn't been able to reverse.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
If that makes sense. Cool. Okay. Look, nice to see everyone. Keep sending me your questions. See you next week at the normal time.
We look forward to seeing you. And next week, normal time?
Normal time.
Normal time. Yes. Okay.
See you later, everybody. Bye-bye. See ya. Bye.